Good morning, everybody. Are we here? We're here. I think we're here. Hello, good morning. Happy Sunday to everybody. Welcome to anybody who this might be your first Sunday coffee chat with me. Hello, Melissa. This is not your first Sunday coffee chat. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. All right. This Sunday, what we are going to talk about, I'm going to try to keep us to about a half an hour here, get everybody's day moving, shaken. Plus, Team TSE has a team-wide. We have a live stream at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So lots going on here. So I'll try to keep us till about 10:30. And what I love to do for these Sundays is have your weekly reminder to do your check-in with your calendar and your money. And I'm gonna move because I'm sitting kind of uncomfortable. Okay, there we go. This is your weekly reminder to do that check-in with yourself. And I have a topic for today, which is how to start making a change in your life that you feel like is not possible for you. And if you're in holistic witchery, it's a little glimpse about how you can use the 5 eyes. If you're not in holistic witchery, come join us. We start the core part of the program, or the 8-week section, through the moon and chakras and shadow work and tarot and all the goodness, starts tomorrow. So come hang out. Anyway, so first, your weekly setup. I invite all of you, whether you start to do it while you're listening this morning or you do it after this or sometime today, to grab your preferred calendar or planner for the week ahead. Of course, I love the TSE planner, though I use that in conjunction with a Google Calendar, so a digital calendar. I live and breathe by my digital calendar. If it's not on there, it's not happening. Doesn't exist to me if it's not on the calendar. So take some time to think about the week ahead and what it is that you're going to do this week. So this planning time for the week ahead, I've been referring to it as really this vision creation time. If you are not the authority over your time and your money will have authority over you, hands down, every single day of the week. So look to your week ahead and put in your calendar anything that is immovable. So if you work, your work time that you have to work is going to go on there. If you have appointments, those are going to go on there. If you have date nights with significant others, those are going to go on there. If you have children or grandchildren and you want to have specific time with them, one-on-one time, that is going to go on there. Anything that will be immovable for you is going to go on there. Once you've done that, you're going to have a really good idea about how much white space you have left over. And from there, I want you to do a little energy assessment. When are you at your highest energy and when are you at your lowest energy? And then look at your goals and things you want to accomplish, things you want to do in your life. Put those on the calendar according to your energy. All right. You might have to watch this back to get all this. I'll repeat it a little bit once again. I invite you during this time or later on to look at your week ahead, sort of as a vision casting. Anything that's immovable, it has a time to it. Like, it must be done. You must work from 9 to whatever on Monday. Perhaps you already know you're going to do a date night with your significant other on Thursday at 6 p.m., whatever it is. Those all go on the calendar. Once all of that is on there, check with yourself. Do you have more energy in the morning, in the afternoons, the evenings? When's your energetic high point? Anything else you want to do, you're going to put in according to your energy. So I see people set goals and really fail with them because, as particularly people who might work like 9 to 5, or I don't know, whatever your work hours are, and maybe you come home and you're always so tired, but you set these goals and you're like, I'm going to start working out every day, or I'm going to make all these home cooked meals. And then you come home, you're exhausted, and you don't do it. And then you feel bad and guilty and like you're a failure and you can't do anything. And that's not the case at all. It's just you're tired when you come home. So that would be the time to do something that doesn't require that energetic output. And when you start to take control of your time and forecast for the week ahead, Eventually you get into a rhythm that works for you. You get into a strategy, a system that works for you, and you start to create this life you desire to be living. Now, the same is true of your money. Really thinking about, where is my money going this week? So many of us are reactive when it comes to time and money. I think most people are reactive when it comes to time and money. You just like somebody calls you and you answer the phone, right? And you're like, okay, well, they're calling me, I'm going to answer the phone. But like I, for example, have one friend, every time I get on the phone with her, it's an hour-long conversation, no matter what. And I love talking to her, and I don't get to see her because we live on separate sides of the continent. But if she calls me on a Tuesday at 11 a.m., I'm not going to answer, because I know that it will disrupt my whole day. So instead, I take control of my time, and I text her and I say, can we set up a phone date for this time? Right. And so many people are just reactive. This person has called me. This person has beckoned me. I must respond. This person needs from me. I must respond. And that is not the case at all. Take control of that time. And your money, it's the same. We really move by like, oh, I'm too tired to make dinner, so I'm going to order this thing, right? Or I decided nothing fits me and I hate everything in my closet. So then you stop at a store or you go online and you order something to make yourself feel better. But when you decide in advance what's happening, and maybe in that case, what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, you decide in advance, you're vision casting your week ahead. This is how you start to practically create the life you want to live. Now, we can use magical tools in there too, and you can set this up as a ritual. When I do this, when I'm home and at my home, I will bring in candles and cards, and I'll pick a crystal for the week, and I'll like sip a special tea when I'm doing it. And it becomes my ritual for the week ahead. Like I am connecting to the energy of where I will be a week from now. And you can bring that in there. You can look at the moon phases and then understand what's the energy of that week. Like with the stars, and what do you want to do and what don't you want to do. So you can reinforce the vision casting and tap into all your tools to make it feel like a sacred practice, and the sacred practice in consciously creating the life you want to be living rather than being reactive. If there's one thing that you take away from me, it is everything I just said in the last 5 minutes. So many people ask me just the questions about like, how do you do X, Y, and Z? Or they look at my life, which is so full. It's so full. Like I can't, some of y'all know you're in different life stages, and you've heard my story. My grandfather with dementia, his dementia's ratcheted up big time in the last few months, and it is wild. I went from 2 kids to 4 kids with my grandparents. I got 2 young kids in neurodivergent. I run a company and I work full time. Like I work full time. I do not work part time. I work full time. And the reason why that I have the capacity to do all of this is because I don't let life tell me what I'm doing every day. Like I don't wake up and choose to be reactive to life. I very much vision cast for the week ahead. Where's the money going? Where's like, what food are we eating? Do I have clothes that fit me, that I feel good in, so that I don't have to think about it? What is going on? And that is how you start to consciously create this life that feels amazing. When am I spending time with my husband? When am I spending time with my kids? I really think about it. Everything doesn't necessarily have like at this half hour I do this, and this half hour I do this. That's not the case at all. I am, though, aware of what needs to happen to feel the way I want to feel. And do I have room to do that? And if I don't, what am I going to shift? Or when do I look and know that this is coming for me, right? And then I can consciously decide. Okay, so when you think of your time, when you think of your money, where's it going? And are you doing things, bringing things into your life that make you feel the way you want to feel? And then if not, how can you shift that? Now, this bridges into the topic for today, which is, sorry, my nose is just going to itch it. I'm not going to hold back. The topic for today is this idea of creating the life you want to live when it feels like it is impossible. So as most of you probably are all very well aware of, because we make it loud and proud, we have our doors open for holistic witchery right now. And we tell everybody about it, because that's what we got to do. We got to tell everybody about it. We hope everybody joins us. But inevitably, when we are doing this, a few people come out of the woodwork who feel very stuck, like so stuck, and might email us about this and or show up on social media and just let us know how stuck they are and how impossible everything feels. And that's happening this time. And it really got me thinking about this idea of, impossibility and how nothing feels like you just can't. And the specific example that I have seen this time that got me thinking about this was around, having a job that you hate, but having to stay in the job for some reason. Now I see that, and I'm not here to tell everybody to quit their job. So that's not where I'm going. Just get that. That's not my answer to this, because sometimes we have to be in situations that we don't want to be in, right? Like in my life, I love the town that I live in. But full transparency, I am a business owner. I live in Connecticut, which has a high tax rate. And if I lived in like all but 4 other states, I'd save so much money every year. But I love my town. And so I am in a situation and my family lives close by and I take care of my grandparents who I moved to live in the same town as me just 2 years ago. So like I moved them there and I very much feel like I see this money going out that if we lived somewhere else, even just one state over, wouldn't be going out. And like, what could I do with that? And I find myself a little feeling stuck. So that's my, like right now, I feel a little stuck in that. So I hear you. We all have these things that feel like, oh, that feels too hard. Like I'd have to fix up the house. I can't because my grandparents, it all feels hard. So for some of you, and this example that I heard specifically was around needing a job for health insurance, which I totally get. Like if you have certain medical things and your medicines that you have to keep you alive are like $5,000 a month. I get it. Like I get that. So what do we do? Well, the first thing to do is start to do this practice that I started with. Think about your life for the next week. Because when we find ourselves in situations that feel like we're up against a wall, yet we want a life that feels different, we have to start to take control of our day-to-day lives. Because letting the situation have power over you it will rob you of your joy at every turn. It will rob you of your joy at every single turn. So the first thing is to begin to take power over your happiness and the life that you're living, even if you have to do things you don't want to be doing. We all have to do things we don't want to be doing for some point in time. So first, we want to start to feel like we do have power and agency over our lives, and like our lives aren't stealing our power and agency away. That's the first thing. Because if you don't feel like you have power over your life, anything else after that will not matter. Now, the next thing is to start to get really dialed in on how you want to feel. Now, if you're in holistic witchery, this is the 5 eyes. And if you're new to us, we're going to teach this to you right alongside the moon, the chakras, shadow work, tarot, the whole thing. You're going to learn it all together in this like beautiful tumble of goodness. So we want to know, how do you want to feel, right? How do you want to feel? So you got to come to terms with that. Then what do you have to do to feel that way? This is where you start to take control of your life and have power over your everyday. If, like me, for example, I live where I live, I'm not going to move anytime soon, and there's consequences to that, and that is what it is. But what do I have to do to feel like abundant or fulfilled in my situation? Or maybe I just want to feel content, or maybe I want to feel connected to where I live to help boost my energy, right? Like, how do you want to feel? Then what do you need to do to feel that way? That's the next part. And that happens at your energetic level. So if you think of yourself, right now, my family's working on this big 1,000-piece puzzle where all of the pieces, like, they all look the same, right? So want to think of your energy as a puzzle. And if your energy is a puzzle, what pieces need to be removed to make room for new pieces? And that's how we start to work on your energy to take action on how you want to feel. So if your current energetic puzzle is all like, this is impossible, I can't feel the way I want to feel, I can't do the job I want to do, I can't live where I want to live, I can't have the relationship I want to have, if that's all your energetic puzzle, there is no room to feel a different way. So we want to start looking at your energy and then doing shadow work to swap out one energy for another energy, right? An energy of possibility, an energy of being present in the life that you have. I see the question Nikki's asking about closed captions, and I'll be honest, Nikki, I don't know. On Zoom there is, and I have never tried or been asked that on this platform before. So I can't answer that question. I'll be sure to check it out before our next live stream. And if anybody else knows the answer, feel free to chime in and help Nikki out. But Nikki, I'll be honest, I don't know. And that is a shame that I have not looked at that before. So I will check it out before our next live stream. All right, so your energetic puzzle and the shadow work. What do you need to do to reset this energy and have a possibility energy in place of a stuck energy? So I've just taken you through really fast our how do you want to feel? That's our first I, intention. Second, integrate. You got to take action on it. Third is insight. What can you learn? What shadow work do you have to do to change your energy? The fourth is ideate. Now, this is where this really comes in, and this is the hardest one for most people. We teach this right alongside with ritual and like make and magic, because ritual and magic making is all about creating this portal of possibility or exploring different options for yourself. So when you do a ritual and you call in a circle, or you get really ethereal, or maybe you do some scrying, or you light a candle and like connect to the energy of fire, that's all connecting to something that is different than your current energetic output. Like we're creating this space to ignite a new possibility through ritual. So what we want to do here is start to consider possibilities that we don't know exist for us yet. So in my experience, like in my life, some other ways that this has come up for me have been in marriage. So I share a lot about my marriage. Everybody in my family is divorced or has been divorced at some point in time and remarried. I am the only, I'm the anomaly that I have not been divorced. And I don't plan to get divorced as of today anyway. And during the height of my marriage problems, my marriage was very, very hard, and it was very on the brink of disaster and explosion. And you better believe that everything in my energetic makeup was leave, because that's my only frame of reference. It's the only thing that I know to do. It's what the birds in my ears tell me to do, because that's what they know to do, right? That's all there is. So I had to really get in tune with myself. How do I want to feel? How can my energy be different? What shadow work do I have to do? How can I create a reality that I don't actually know exists, right? And that's where you start, is doing the shadow work, doing the energetic switcheroo, understanding how do I want to feel, and then tapping into a reality that you don't actually know exists for you. I had to do this as a business owner too. I don't know anybody in my personal family, friends. Now I do, but when I started a business, I knew nobody to tell me about business formation, nobody to tell me about taxes, nobody to tell me about hiring people, nobody to tell me about contracts and intellectual property. I had nobody. And so I had to create a different field of possibility for myself. So when you're in a situation and it feels like there is no way out, that is totally understandable. That happens to all of us, but it's not until we're able to start to form a new way out that we can see we have to be able to timeline switch, energetically switch. This is where all the witchcraft and quantum physics comes in, because you're on one wavelength of energy. You're on this the thing, right? And it's until you can jump to something you don't know that you can get into a different situation. You have to understand that you can jump. So if you're in a job that you hate because you need health insurance and you want to feel like you have a job you love, the action you need to take is applying for jobs until you have a damn job you love. But then what's keeping you from doing that? Oh, well, I did it for 6 months and I didn't even get an interview. Oh, my resume is not good enough. Oh, well, I can't because it's not happening because, right? And this is where we really have to work on our energetic beings. And I'm going to get really out there and energy on you. But if you are lacking the confidence because no one called you for 6 months, you're going to give up and you're not going to see another way forward. If you are lacking the confidence to apply for jobs because you feel like there's one thing on the job listing that you don't know how to do, you're not going to apply, right? So then it's a confidence issue, which is an energy issue. So we teach this 5 eyes, and if you go through it for pretty much anything in your life, it can help you to expand and change. But that fourth eye, ideate, it's really the one that people get it. It's the hardest one because you can't see yourself in something you can't see yourself in. If you can't see yourself doing the job, you're not going to get the job. If you can't see yourself living in another state, you're not going to live in another state. If you don't see yourself doing X, Y, and Z, right? You're not going to see yourself doing it. Like you're just not going to be able to do it. So what do you do then? Look for a frame of reference. Look for, start to look to, when I started a business, I made so many fumbles. Like we're on year 8. I think like year 10 of being self-employed, I would say the first 6 years was definitely like, somebody help me, I'm just drowning. And then it got a little bit better, right? And it got a little bit better. But I had to look for people who embodied the energy that I needed to embody. And I needed to switch the energy I came in with to a different energy. Now, in my current situation, feeling like I can't move and like I'm just like bleeding money because of where I'm choosing to live, in this case, I'm really reconciling my choice. I'm understanding, well, it's one way of feeling to believe like, oh, I'm wasting so much money by living in this state, right? Like I could think that, or I could think, I get to live in such a beautiful place. And I have so many possibilities living where I live. And I'm so blessed that I can afford to live there. Like that's another way of thinking about it. So then that ideation, that dreaming also is about creating the way you live in your reality. It's about, I can do a ritual in my backyard and I can connect to where I live and I can switch from this, oh gosh, this is so the worst energy to look at all the possibility around me and how lucky am I to be here. And then I can understand that I am attaching a different perspective, a different outcome of myself by staying where I am. Now, I just paid my tax bill, so this is fresh on my mind and it still bites. And also, though, I do remind myself, like, how lucky am I? I have family members who live in like places where I go there and like they love it and it's their home, right? But it's not my home. It's not my home. I go there and I'm like, get me back to my home. Get me back to where I live. And you all probably, wherever you live, you're probably like, yes, this is home. I don't want to be where you live, Sarah, because it's just what works for you. So if there is a situation you're in, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, somebody came here who was on a fixed income and felt like they couldn't make more money because it would actually like impair them and they needed to just stay where they were. But what do you do? And my invitation then too was sort of, you have to reconcile that with yourself at some point. Then at some point you have to shift the way you're attached to that from, oh, I'm a victim of society and I can't ever change because of that, to, this is a choice I'm making. And what do I do to reconcile that with my energy so that I am open to experiencing happiness and joy in that energy? And again, I go full circle to what I started with at the beginning of this, though, is taking agency, taking power over the life you're interacting with every day. And time and money are two of the ways that we just like bleed our energy every single day without thinking about it. And taking that back allows you to connect into what is possible for you. So for me to save a failing marriage, I had to look for different possibilities. I had to realign my energy completely to understand like what it looks like to be a person who sorts it out and to be a person who like every fiber in my being wanted to slam a door and exit. I'm also have 5 planets in Sagittarius, so like that is my go-to, slam a door and exit. And just like the realignment it took to not do that. And then, just anything that you want to do. So think about what's possible for you. Also remember that all of us only live within this, like we all live in a bubble. Like I hope you realize that you live in a bubble of what you know. You might see what's on TV or like we all talk on the internet, but realistically, like you live in a bubble of what you know. So for example, like what's a vegetable that okra? I tried to cook okra once. It was disgusting. It was slimy. It was awful. I've never seen anyone cook it. I like stumbled upon it at a store. I was like, this seems like a good idea. I watched I read, this was before, like, I don't know. I think it was like an old, like, remember blog, like when it was just blog posts without all the ads and all the extra stuff, like many years ago. And I like read a quick thing about it. I was like, this is going to be great. It was awful, but that's not in my bubble. I have no experience cooking okra. It's such a silly example, right? But then I gave up on it. I've never tried to do it again. So it's like, this is dumb and I'm not doing this. So what is in your bubble? That's what you know. And for so many people, we just move through life. Like, this is what I know. I know that when I'm tired, I hit the drive-through after work. That's what everybody does, right? I know that when, you might be a person who, whatever you do, right? It's what you're used to. It's in your bubble. There are infinite possibilities outside of your bubble, y'all. Infinite. There are infinite possibilities outside of my bubble. There are so many possibilities that we just don't know are possible for us. And that's where we can tap into these other realms of possibility, but we have to have the confidence to go after them, which is where all the shadow work, all the energy work comes in, the chakras, the shadow, building your self-trust, understanding how you want to feel, and then looking for new ways to take action on how you want to feel. So when you want to feel a certain way, or you want to bring something into your life and it feels utterly impossible for you, firstly, take back power and control over your everyday, your time, and your money. Take back your authority over those two things. Because if you don't have authority over those two things, everything will feel impossible all the time. It just will. I hate to tell you, but it will. So you got to take back authority over your time and your money. And then once you've taken that back, that's when we can start to say, here's my energetic makeup. What's going on in my chakras? What needs to be swapped for something else? What shadow work do I need to do? What ritual can I do? What tools can I use to help me vision and understand a possibility that I don't even know exists for me yet? What do I have to do to make that happen? And then it's going through that again and again and again. And then your energy just expands and expands and expands. But here's the thing, though, about being human is that these stories that are within you, they show up again every time you expand. Every single time, which is why it's so great to know this, to know, okay, well, how do I want to feel? What's in my energy? What's the shadow work that I have to do? What's the next way? What's the next vision? What am I going to do to get there? Because once you reach the next vision, something else will come up that really forces you to start again, reclaim the power over your time and your money again. Think about lottery winners, right? People who win the lottery. I don't know exactly like the statistic, but I'm sure you've all heard it, right? People who win these big lottery sums, there's like a huge statistic of them, or significant amount of them who end up bankrupt or end up with no money or buy these houses they can't afford, right? And it's because, and that's just like your energy, when you expand to something that you've never had before, it requires an entire recalibration to that new thing. Just like me, growing up a broke girl whose mom made, it was like $18,000 one year, taking care of two kids in an expensive shoreline of Connecticut town, right? And then becoming a business owner who has to pay people every month, like that required so many stumbles and so much re-energetic, like recalibration of my energy, because I didn't have the capacity. So when I got the confidence to do the thing, right, then I had to learn how to maintain that level. And that happens with everything. So now, like with marriage, I learned how to stay married, but that does require now a new version of our marriage. And now I have to learn how to be in that marriage. I have to learn how to be me married to this husband again, all over again. And that's why having the system and a framework is so helpful, because it allows you to keep moving forward at every new stage you enter, and every growth and every expansive opportunity that you don't know how to handle, but you had the confidence to call into your life. You're going to have to do that energy work all over again. But that's what's so beautiful about the limitless opportunities that this life affords us, is that we can do that. All right. big thoughts for you today. I see okra discussion going on here. I don't know. I've eaten okra that other people have made, like at a restaurant in Gumbo, but not tried again for me. And I did see Kendra was sharing, on your iPhone, you can go to settings for accessibility and turn on live captions for captions, but Circle does not have captions. Thank you, Kendra. I did not know that. And if anybody has an Android, check it out. See if that's available there as well. I'm an iPhone user, so I can't look for you. But thank you, Kendra, for answering that. And thank you, I think it was Nikki I think it was Nikki or Nicole for asking that question. Yes, so it was Nikki for asking the question. Thank you for that. All right. So my task for all of you is to pull out a planner or a calendar, whatever works for you, sticky notes, anything at all, and look to the future. Look to the week ahead. What is it that you are spending your energy on this week? Because your time is your energy. What do you plan to spend your money on this week? Because your money is your energy. What are you spending both of those things on? And start to feel in control of your day to day so that you can do the work of having the courage to change some area of your life that feels sticky right now, whether that's a job, a relationship, your body image, your hormones, whatever it is. Do that. So I sit here in this camera. Where is it? Let's see my long, speaking of hormones, my nice gray hair here. Staring at me. Zoom does not show me my gray hairs, so I appreciate Zoom for that. No, I'm just kidding. I love my little gray hairs. My husband has taken to calling me Mrs. Santy, which is funny because his beard's like all gray. Kathy is asking about the closed captioning also. So Kathy, Circle doesn't have closed captioning, but somebody shared earlier that and if you have an iPhone, you can turn it on through your iPhone in the accessibility settings. When we do calls on Zoom, though, because Cookie, you are new to Holistic Witchery, so welcome, Cookie. When we do the calls on Zoom, which we do for Holistic Witchery, you can turn those on. I do these in here on Sundays so that folks who are hanging out here from various different classes and everything can all be in one place and enjoy the conversation. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to run. Team TSC will be on Zoom and YouTube at 11 a.m. Eastern time in just a half an hour to share their sacred practices as we wrap up our registration for this current Holistic Witchery period. So if you're not in that class and you're thinking about it, today is the day to come and join us. And the live stream in a half an hour will be on Zoom, but if the Zoom room maxes out, it's also going to be streamed on YouTube. So you won't miss, however you catch us, wherever you are. If you try the Zoom and you can't get in, we'll be on YouTube. Just go to our page, refresh it. We'll keep our eyes in the places. So you will not miss out on anything wherever you have to catch it. And there'll be a replay, and this replay will be up in just a few minutes here in Circle as well. All right, y'all, go take control of that next week. I empower you to make some magic with your time and your money. And I'll see you all later. All right. Okay, I'm going to hang up the call now. I hear there's like the delay is as such that if I say bye and hang up, it cuts me off mid-sentence. I'm just waving ridiculously. Okay, bye.